Hi guys. It's been a while. I've had a lot going on. These past 2 weeks have been pretty great. I mean, not bad. My daughter just went back to school after a wonderful summer break. She's excited. She's having a blast. And we got a new dog, and he's perfect and he's wonderful. And we saved him from euthanization. He was pulled from the shelter the very day he was scheduled to be euthanized, and we are so blessed to have him in our lives. And you might hear him at the door here in a little bit. He seems to be wanting to come see me, so we'll see what he does. Hopefully he keeps quiet, but he's perfect. But I really wanted to come on and do a reading. Tomorrow we have, or maybe you're watching this on Monday, so we'll just say Monday, August 19th, we have a really important full moon that I just couldn't pass up a reading for. It is a supermoon, which means it's a little bit closer to Earth, and it's intense. So what that means energy-wise is intensity. It's a blue moon. So a blue moon is either 2 full moons in 1 month or 4 full moons in a season. So this is the third in this season, and it is a blue moon, which means rarity, right? And then it's in Aquarius. So Aquarius is all about innovation, thinking outside of the box, standing up for society, reform and change, independence, freedom. So if you kind of combine all of those together, now, and we're looking at what to release, Aquarius super blue moon says, now is not the time to be stubborn and stick to old beliefs and values. Now is not the time to hide out or repress yourself. It's time to be bold. It's time to step up for what's right. It's time to make changes and take action on things that no longer serve us. Standing up for our authenticity, and it's being really brave and changing things that have really needed to be changed for a long time. You know, the saying for Aquarius is, we often will say the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. An Aquarian will say the glass is 2 times bigger than it needs to be, right? So they really think of solutions and innovation for problems that typically people wouldn't see. They really do look at things from a different angle. So it's really asking you to change some stubbornness, some things that have been stuck, and think of a different way. Think of a different way. It's time. It's just time. And now is the biggest opportunity to do it. If you have an Aquarius moon, or if you have a lot of planets, personal planets in Aquarius, or you have an Aquarius rising, you're probably going to feel this the most, okay? So let's get started. We're going to look at what should be released, what we should embrace, and actions and advice on how to navigate this, okay? And when I ask what needs to be released, I asked about some things that maybe you're not completely aware of. So I think a lot of times, removing any of the astrology right now, a lot of times we will have things in our life where we feel like we can't really quite put our finger on it. Like something's missing, something's not right. I can't figure out where this behavior is coming. I can't change something. What is going on? So Aquarius is going to ask you to really dig that up. You're going to have to figure it out. That's basically what it's saying. It's time to figure it out. So I asked for what is hidden. What are you unaware of? What's that thing you can't quite put your finger on? Okay. So time to go, followed by shadow. Okay. There's a shadow here, obviously, and it's a block. And what's going on? So at the bottom of the deck for this was the Knight of Wands. This guy is impulsive as hell. He really makes some flighty decisions. He's passionate. He goes towards things that he's passionate about, but he doesn't really think before he does it. He just goes. And what happens is, boom, tower. It leaves behind some chaos. And so, or maybe in the face of chaos, that's what I should say, is we become the Knight of Wands, right? We make impulsive decisions. And it's funny here because you've got 2 sides of the coin. You've got the Sun and the Queen of Cups, which is joy, emotional fulfillment. And then you've got the 3 of Swords and the 5 of Wands, which is heartbreak and conflict. And the thing is, what sometimes we don't understand is that these things coexist. We can't have love without conflict. It's kind of impossible. Conflict is kind of necessary, and it's a healthy way of doing it. And Joy and pain are two sides of the same coin too. They coexist. We can't have love and joy without pain. Sometimes we have to know one before we can know the other. And it's understanding that. And it's almost like some of you, your shadow is when you get the slightest whiff of pain or conflict, you bolt. You're gone. Any kind of idea of conflict, boom, you leave. That's Nine of Wands. That's your shadow. Why do you do that? Why is that? Well, the thing that comes to mind for me is it could be CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or it could be a PTSD thing. Tower always reminds me of, this is something stable being completely brought down. So maybe you've lived this before. Maybe you've lived pain before. Maybe you've been through the wars, maybe quite literally. And any kind of conflict that comes up, you don't want anything to do with it. You leave. In any kind of idea of pain, you don't want anything to do with it. You leave. And that leaves somebody who's very non-committal and impractical and just flight risk. And maybe someone who, I'm just going to say it, maybe only gets into relationships based on the physicality of it, right? We don't think a lot of with our emotions. That's a shadow that maybe you're not completely aware of. I will also say too that when people are so used to living in chaos, when things get good, they get freaked out. So they'll churn up chaos to like satisfy their nervous system, right? So we could also say this is a nervous system thing. When you're constantly in that fight or flight, when things get to be, even keel and peaceful, you're like, that's your switch to say something's wrong, something's not right. Like you don't like peace. Some of you really just don't like, you can't be comfortable in that peace. It's a thing. Look it up. It really is. So what is it that we need to embrace here? Building blocks, followed by lucky. I think a lot of times we believe in life that we don't have options, that we can't create our own luck, that we can't create our own joy. But actually you can. Two of Wands, that you can make a different choice. And Nine of Swords here at the bottom tells me that if you've got some triggers, if you've got some triggers, we're using them to, like, our triggers point out areas of change, right? Where can we make a better decision when they pop up instead of running every time? Where can we make a better choice? When you've got the the Six of Wands and the Seven of Wands, this is bold. This is also successful boundaries, successfully standing up for things that you believe in, and the Queen of Wands and the Magician. So we can choose, take our fears and choose to do something different. We can choose to stand in our own power. The Magician has everything he needs. He has swords, wands, cups, pentacles. He knows what to do. You just have to get brave enough to use the tools that you already have. And believe it or not, our fears and all of these things that have happened to us are here to give us these tools to help us navigate through our life. They're not here to put you in a hole and hide. They're here to teach you something. And let me step back and say for just a minute, I won't sit here and say that everything happens for a reason, because it doesn't. Some things happen that are really awful and terrible, and there is no rhyme or reason or explanation for it, and they're hurtful and they're sad. And moving on from that takes time, and that's okay. All right. So I won't sit here and say that everything has a reason, but whatever we're looking for in this, it does. So we're not talking absolute worst case scenario here. We're talking about some pain that we've been through, some fears and difficulties that we really need to learn how to stand into our own power and make a change for, and understand that you create your own luck. And this is also about manifestation. This could be a block to your manifestations as well. We can't wish for one thing and be afraid of it at the same time. That's like trying to hit the gas with the parking brake on. It doesn't work. You're not going to go anywhere. So we need to understand that we can create a new path and step out of your comfort zone here. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Right? And that is very Aquarian. So actions and advice for you. Breathe. Transmute. So breathe, take a break, slow down, because this, with the Knight of Wands and the Tower, is fast, quick, chaotic, unstable. Breathe, slow down, transmute. The Emperor with the Five of Cups underneath. This is taking your pain and turning it into a power. And I say that because, you know, some of the greatest love songs that were ever written were written from a place of complete destruction and complete heartbreak. Some of the best art was written in a time where they were in their absolute lowest. Vincent van Gogh, Starry Night. He was in an insane asylum when he painted that. We're taking our pain and turning it into a power. And we're understanding that the Wheel of Fortune, everything has a cycle. Everything has a time. It comes and goes. It's just like the rain. And our job is to remain flexible in all of those moments in life and find a sweet spot between rest and healing and practicality and action and doing something, right? The Emperor is he has all of the kings combined, kind of like the Magician, but a little bit different. And this is also masculine here. This is also learning healthy masculine. We all have masculine within us, and learning how to heal that and be practical with it. And because unhealthy masculine is a flight risk, right? So we're learning how to transmute our pain into power, and that is very masculine. I really have a strong connection right now to the arts. Maybe some of you are creatives and need to put something out into this world that is comes from your soul, from your heart, and it could gain some affluence here and abundance. And it could be, you know, showing something about healing, something about your healing capabilities, healing powers can bring you some kind of financial gain or reward. That's for someone out there. But it is also, it will come from learning how to finely tune the idea that everything has its season. And that brings out boldness in people. When you know that things are just temporary, when pain is only temporary, you can find your boldness in it. And you can find your boundaries in it as well. That's a boundary saying, yeah, this hurts. I'm going to feel it for a minute, but I'm not going to wallow in it. Pain does not define me. It fuels me. That's transmuting. That's Aquarius. And that's bold, right? And it's rare. Not everybody can do that. I think the full moon just kind of defined itself right here, right?